There's a reason they call it the most valuable player, not one of the most valuable players, and that's because only one guy can win it. Year in and year out in any sport, not just MLB, great seasons get snubbed, and I'm here to bring the shine to the silver medal because honestly, I like silver more than gold. See, I'm even... That's a gold chain. Today we're going to be ranking every runner-up MVP season in MLB since the year 2000. Now there are some rules I want to set before we get into this. Number one, if you were a runner-up one year and you won the MVP another year, you're out. I'm not talking about you today. Number two, I discounted the 2020 season because it's 60 games and no records were set, so sorry. We've got 5 different categories in today's video. At the top, MVP in any other year. These are truly historic seasons that got blocked by a truly generational player. Unfortunately, these guys ended up with a runner-up finish rather than an MVP that they definitely deserved. Tier 2 is should have beat the other guy. These guys might have not necessarily won in any other year, but in the year that they did place second, they probably should have won the award. Tier number 3, 2007 Magglio Ordoñez. I'll explain, I promise. Tier number 4, great year, but MVP worthy. I'm not sure if these guys should have won or not, but they're worth talking about. Their seasons were terrific. And then our 5th tier, true MVP 2. These guys I'm not going to spend too much time on because somebody's got to finish in second place. It just happened to be these guys. If you enjoyed today's video, please leave a like on the video and subscribe to the Jolly Olive channel. Let me know in the comments down below if you'd like to see more tier list content because I haven't done a tier video in a while and I'm pretty excited to do this one. We're going to go in chronological order, which means we're going back to the year 2003 and starting in the American League with Carlos Delgado. Carlos Delgado is one of my favorite players of all time, but point blank, he did not deserve to win MVP in this year. Honestly, I'm just happy that he has an MVP 2 on his resume. This is one of the many times you're going to see Alex Rodriguez above somebody that I like because A-Rod was really good. As for Delgado, this wasn't even really the best season of his career. His 2000 season is where he set a bunch of his career highs. He is one of just 8 players with this many runs batted in a single season this century, and that season he was one of just 2 players to cross the 1,000 OPS threshold, which is pretty impressive. Overall, though, Carlos Delgado was a true MVP 2 in this season. No argument really to be made there. We're going to follow that up with another true MVP 2, which was Gary Sheffield for the 2004 Yankees. It was honestly kind of odd that he finished runner-up in this season when I look at the award ballot because he set no major career highs in any offensive categories. It was kind of a run-of-the-mill year for a very good power hitter in Gary Sheffield. Honestly, he had plenty of other seasons that were better than this 2004 season for the Yankees. And honestly, when you think Gary Sheffield, you think big-time home runs. He wasn't even in the top 10 of the American League for slugging percentage this season. And while Vlad Guerrero Jr. had a great year this year and won the MVP award, it honestly probably should have went to Ichiro Suzuki, who was worth 9 WAR and set the record for hits in a single season. While I'm glad that someone like Vlad got an MVP in his career, I do wish this one went to Ichiro, who never got an MVP in his career. Unfortunately, we're starting the video with kind of back-to-back nothing burgers. But that leads us to the 2004 NL MVP runner-up, Adrian Beltre of the Los Angeles Dodgers, and this is one of the greatest seasons on this entire list. I said before that you're going to see Alex Rodriguez a lot on this list, but this is actually the only time we're going to see Barry Bonds on this list today. If not for the existence of prime Barry Bonds, this would have been easily an Adrian Beltre MVP season. He was so good for the Dodgers in his walk year. He set career highs in home runs, runs batted in, batting average, on base, slugging, OPS, OPS plus, and WAR. He was so good for this team. He's one of just 16 players this century with a 9 WAR season, and you're going to see more 9 WAR seasons later. You heard me right. Multiple guys with 9 WAR seasons finished runner-up in MVP voting. This is also one of the best third baseman seasons ever. He's one of just 4 third basemen with 40 home runs and 1,000 OPS in this century. And it's a shame because Adrian Beltre, who was a first ballot Hall of Famer, went in with no MVP award on his mantle, and this would have been the year. This one is an easy MVP in any other year for me because it's one of the best seasons on this list, and Barry Bonds' MVP year in 2004 stands out as easily the best MVP season outside of Aaron Judge that you'll see in today's video. Justice for my guy Beltre, and stop touching his head. Up next, we have the 2005 AL MVP runner-up, David Ortiz. Much like a lot of what I said for Gary Sheffield, this wasn't even the best season of David Ortiz's career. In fact, he had better seasons right around this one in 2006 and 2007. He set a career high in runs batted in, but no other major offensive categories, as most of his career highs were set in 2006, where he hit 54 home runs, walked nearly 120 times, and slugged well over 600. This was a stretch for David Ortiz where he was in the MVP conversation every single year, but when he was up against A-Rod in his prime, it was a no contest. contest. This will be another true MVP 2 for me. You're going to see kind of a lot of these in today's video. What won't be a true MVP 2 is the 2005 runner-up in the National League, which was Andruw Jones. This is the first truly tight MVP race on today's list. Jones exploded for one of the best center field seasons in baseball history, setting career highs in home runs, runs batted in, slugging, and OPS. He had more home runs than any other hitter in the National League and led the way with nearly 8 Fangraphs wins above replacement. This was in the midst of prime Albert Pujols, but I think there's a legitimate argument to be made that playing center field and putting up these numbers warranted an MVP win for Andruw Jones. He became just the 5th primary center fielder in the expansion era, which is a 60-year window, to have a 50-homer season. Do I think he would have been an MVP in any other year? Not necessarily, but I do think he should have beat the other guys, so I'm going to put him in the second tier. I fully understand that Albert Pujols routinely put up video game numbers. This one I had a little bit of a tough time with, so let me know in the comments down below if you disagree. Up next, we have Derek Jeter in 2006 in the American League, honestly his best shot to win an MVP award in his career. This is another tight race that is often talked about, especially in the John Boy media office. It ended up going to Justin Morneau, and he stands as one of the weirder MVP winners in baseball history. Morneau definitely had a good year, but there were plenty of candidates in the American League that could have won over him, and Derek Jeter is one of them. He finished top 4 or better in the American League for hits, on-base percentage, batting average, and stolen bases, and was a very well-rounded player. Jeter's known for his glove, and that's how he racked up this much WAR, but honestly, this could have went to Grady Sizemore, who was better than both these guys. I'm not going to put this one in true MVP 2 because I do think he legitimately could have won it and not many people would question it. I'm going to put it in great year but MVP worthy because, I don't know, is this season MVP worthy? It would have been nice for the face of baseball to get an MVP on his mantle. He didn't end up getting one, but this would have been the year to do it. Up next, we have Magglio Ordoñez in 2007 for the Detroit Tigers, and you guys can probably guess where I'm going to put this one. I'm going to put it in the middle tier, which is labeled after him. I made this tier for 2 reasons. One, I like having a tier in the middle where it's just one guy. Something about that is very satisfying in my brain. And 2, I genuinely don't know what to do with this season. 2007 Alex Rodriguez is the season that everyone points to when they think of his steroid use, and while I can in good conscience say that Magglio should have beat A-Rod this season, I also can't say that everyone else was cheating because this was at the end of the steroid era. Magglio Ordoñez likely would have stood up as one of the weirder MVP winners like Justin Morneau, but he did set a bunch of career bests, and he had an absurdly high 363 batting average. He's one of just 4 players in the past 60 years to hit this high for an average and also rack up 50 doubles. So I put him in the middle because I do think this season was MVP worthy. I don't think that he should have beat the other guys, so it kind of goes in between for me. Up next, we have Matt Holliday in 2007 for the Colorado Rockies. The 2007 National League MVP race is one of the most stacked in MLB history, and in the end, it ended up going to Jimmy Rollins, who put up a 20-20-20-20 season. That being said, I do find Matt Holliday's season a bit more remarkable. Holliday led the league in hits, doubles, and runs batted in. He set career highs in those 3 statistics, as well as triple slash line and wins above replacement. He was also the face of the Rocktober Rockies, who won basically every September game they had to ride a magic streak all the way to the World Series. And he's one of just 11 players in the past 60 years to hit this high for an average, rack up 50 doubles, and have an OPS that was 50% or better than league average. Granted, you could have given this MVP to Albert Pujols, David Wright, Chase Utley, Chipper Jones. All of them had terrific seasons. Matt Holliday did rise to the top, and maybe that's because of what his team did this year, but honestly, if you had him finishing second, I would have just given him the MVP award altogether. This one might be controversial. I'm going to put this one in should have beat the other guy because I genuinely believe it. Up next, we have Mark Teixeira for the 2009 Yankees, his first year in the pinstripes. This one is going to be in true MVP 2 for me, and I honestly think Yankees fans would probably agree with me on this one. Tex was really good in this season, but he set no career highs. He had basically the second best season of his career, but he played for a World Series winning team. He did lead the American League in home runs and runs batted in, but no one was beating Joe Mauer this year, a guy who put up maybe the best catching season ever. Teixeira was in his offensive prime, and the Yankees were also in a prime of their own where they had a player finish first or second in MVP voting in 5 of the past 6 years. But like I said before, no one in the American League was beating Joe Mauer this year, so he goes in true MVP 2 for me. And it's one of the lesser power hitting seasons on this list, so I wouldn't put him in great year, but MVP worthy. Up next, we have Hanley Ramirez for the 2009 Marlins in the National League, and I had a pretty tough time placing this one. In my opinion, this is easily the best season of Hanley Ramirez's career. He set career bests in batting average, on-base percentage, OPS, and OPS+, and it stands up as one of the best shortstop seasons in the expansion era as well. He's one of only 5 shortstops in the past 60 years of play to hit for this high of an average and rack up 7 WAR in a single season. But the fact of the matter is, Albert Pujols was the clear-cut MVP in the 2009 season. And you can see that by the voting disparity where Albert Pujols got all 32 of the first place votes. So yeah, Hanley was a true runner-up in this season, but I'm actually going to put it a tier above our last tier because I do think in other years, this season could be considered MVP worthy. You're actually going to see a lot of the shortstop seasons land in this fourth tier, I think, because playing shortstop on a day-to-day basis and hitting for power and stealing bases is just really impressive in my mind. And of the seasons that end up landing here, Hanley's might be the best. Before we get into the next season, I gotta thank DirecTV for sponsoring today's video. DirecTV is the ultimate destination for all baseball fans, bringing America's pastime right into your home in the easiest way possible. When I'm looking for the best baseball viewing experience, I look for two things. One, I don't want to put no satellite dish on my roof, and two, I want premium, crystal clear quality wherever I am, whether I'm on my couch or I'm on the go, and DirecTV provides both of those things. Watch your favorite team score big this season with DirecTV. You can go to directv.com/johnboy or scan the QR code on the screen to start your plan today. This is a premium quality product, and I thank DirecTV for sponsoring another one of my videos. They're the best. Now let's see who we're ranking next. Up next, we have Jacoby Ellsbury for the 2011 Boston Red Sox in the American League. Now, this one was a doozy to go over because there's a lot of opinions on whether or not a pitcher should ever win the MVP award. In my opinion, it's all about context, and in the context of this season, I do think that there were hitters that should have won the MVP award, like Jacoby Ellsbury. Ellsbury played nearly every game of this season and placed top 5 or better in every major offensive category in the American League, while playing Gold Glove caliber center field, so he was basically the most well-rounded player in the game at this time. In terms of Fangraphs wins above replacement, 9.5 was the best center field campaign since Ken Griffey Jr. And he's one of just 11 primary center fielders to rack up a 30 homer, 30 stolen base season in the past 60 years. Any of Jacoby Ellsbury, Jose Bautista, and Miguel Cabrera, I think, probably should have won this award. And for that reason, I'm going to put it in should have beat the other guy. Yeah, Jacoby Ellsbury probably would have ended up a very weird footnote in MVP history of MLB, but I still think he deserved to win the award this year. Speaking of should have beat the other guy, up next is Matt Kemp for the 2011 Los Angeles Dodgers, and this is an easy should have beat the other guy. Now, the benefit of hindsight being 2020 helps us out in telling us that Ryan Braun was cheating during the 2011 season when he won MVP, but it doesn't change the fact that Matt Kemp almost joined the 40-40 club and still didn't win the MVP. This season does stand out as a true outlier of Matt Kemp's career, but it doesn't change the fact that it should have been an MVP season. He's one of just 3 center fielders in the expansion era to go 30 homers and 40 stolen bases in a season, and he's one of just 8 everyday center fielders in this same window to have an OPS 70% or better than league average. There's a lot of controversial takes in this video, but I think this is one that everyone can agree on besides Brewers fans. Up next, we have Victor Martinez in 2014 for the Detroit Tigers, and I think I'm going to put this one in true MVP too because I'm a proponent of a designated hitter never winning MVP. That being said, this is one of the better designated hitter seasons in baseball history. Martinez led the league with a 409 on base and 974 OPS, and he's one of just 10 designated hitters since the invention of the position to have a 5-WAR season. Imagine having a 5-WAR season when at most you can get 5 plate appearances a game and never play the field. That being said though, if you never play the field, I have a tough time giving you the MVP award, so this stands out as a great offensive season to me and nothing more. This is true MVP too. Up next, we have Daniel Murphy for the 2016 Washington Nationals, and this is going to be another true MVP too for me. Daniel Murphy is one of my favorite players of all time, and he put up one of the best seasons by a second baseman in MLB history in this year, but it doesn't change the fact that this MVP was always going to Chris Bryant. Murph was an absolute doubles machine this year, and he made the Mets look foolish for letting him walk after his 2015 heroics. Murph is one of just 8 second basemen in the expansion era to put up an OPS 50% or better than league average. And Jeff Kent is the only other second baseman to have a slugging clip this high in a full season at second base. I think this is a really good year from Daniel Murphy, but I have trouble seeing him win MVP in pretty much any other season, so he's going to go in the bottom tier here. Up next is Javier Baez in 2018 for the Chicago Cubs, and this is another one I'm still not totally decided on. 2018 was a pretty even playing field across the National League. You had Nolan Arenado with another great season, Jacob deGrom ascending to one of the best pitching seasons ever, and then Javier Baez here who finished runner-up. Javi set career bests in wins above replacement, doubles, home runs, triple slash line, stolen bases. This was the best season of Javi's career for sure. He's one of just 20 players this century to have a 20 stolen base, 30 homer, 100 RBI, and 6 WAR season. That's a lot of numbers. But I do think the writers got this one right. Christian Yelich ascended to stardom this year. The Brewers were the hot team in the National League. It just makes sense that he ended up the winner. Do I think that Javi could have won MVP in a different year? Maybe. And he was also playing shortstop every day, so he does fit in this 4th tier. I'm going to leave him there for now. I might move him later. Up next, we have Alex Bregman for the 2019 Houston Astros. And what was easily the best season of his career, he became one of just 10 third basemen in the expansion era to rack up over 100 walks and over 100 RBIs in a single season. And he's one of just 16 players this century to have a 40 home run campaign where he also racked up 8 WAR or better. Bregman finished top 3 or better in home runs, slugging percentage, OPS, on-base percentage, and walk-to-strikeout rate in the American League, but he does get beat by Mike Trout in on-base, slugging, and OPS, but that's also partially because Trout missed 30 games this year. You could take that in either direction and say, well, Trout could have raised his numbers in that time, but it doesn't change the fact that those 30 games are missing. This was Trout's 3rd MVP award, and I'm honestly still shocked that this one didn't go to Bregman. This one definitely lands in the top 2 tiers for me, and I think it's gonna go in the top tier. I think that Alex Bregman might have won MVP in basically any other year, especially considering that some of the classes in the 2010s for the American League were pretty weak. There's some Astros murkiness here, but I think Alex Bregman deserves to be this high. Speaking of a guy that deserves to be this high, Vladimir Guerrero Jr. in 2021 for the Blue Jays is an easy shoe-in for the top tier for me. I mentioned that Mark Teixeira's 2009 season was one of the lesser when you talk about first baseman power hitting seasons on this list, and this is the cream of the crop. If not for the existence of Shohei Ohtani, Vladimir Guerrero Jr. absolutely would have won MVP this year. And there's plenty of other years in the American League where you can slot in this season and he probably wins there too. A big reason why this season stands out to me as really impressive is because of how young Vladimir Guerrero Jr. was at the time. He was one of just 7 players in the expansion era to hit this many home runs while being aged 22 or younger. To be this young and lead the league in home runs, on base, slugging, and OPS and not even get a vote for MVP is insane. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. is easily in the top tier. Up next, we have Juan Soto in 2021 in the National League for the Washington Nationals, and this is another tough one for me. Looking back on it, this race is not as close as I thought it would be, and Bryce Harper did have the league's best OPS and slugging clip, but a lot of the other numbers favor Juan Soto. Soto was an on-base machine this year, leading the league in walks and on-base percentage and placing 2nd in batting average and OPS, only behind Trey Turner and Bryce Harper. Harper definitely has the edge in power hitting numbers, but he did miss 20 games, and Soto has him well beat in on-base numbers and wins above replacement. He's one of just 6 players in the expansion era with this many walks in a season, and there's a lot of Barry Bonds on that list, no surprise there. I think this race definitely should have been closer, and honestly, I think Soto probably should have won, so I'm going to put him in that 2nd tier. I don't feel great about it because I have no problem with Bryce Harper winning that year, but I think Soto belongs that high. Up next, we have Manny Machado in 2022 for the San Diego Padres in the National League. This one is a true MVP 2 for me. No slack on Machado, this is a really good year from him, but he set no career best in any major offensive categories, and this was a stacked National League third base season. You had Nolan Arenado with another near 8 WAR campaign, and Austin Riley had his true breakout, racking up over 6 WAR and hitting nearly 40 home runs. So Machado's season this year doesn't really stand out as much because of that. Machado's season was a fine year by all accounts, but I think everyone was really happy to see Paul Goldschmidt finally get that MVP award in year 12 of his career, basically solidifying his Hall of Fame case. So yeah, someone had to finish 2nd place. I'm happy it was Manny Machado, and maybe one day he'll get one. Up next, we have Corey Seager in 2023 for the Texas Rangers, and he's just going to end up in that shortstop tier. I'm starting to think I should just come up with a different name for this. Why don't shortstops ever win MVP? Because it's a good question. Why do they never win? Well, the answer is simple in Corey Seager's case. It's once again the existence of Shohei Ohtani. Outside of that, though, Seager did miss a quarter of the season with injury, but even with that, he still put up some monster numbers. He set career bests in home runs, runs batted in, average, slugging percentage, OPS, and WAR. And he's one of just 3 shortstops in the expansion era to have an 1,000 OPS season, granted with those missed games. If you'd rather do counting stats, though, he's one of just 10 shortstops in the expansion era to rack up 30 home runs and 7 WAR in a single season. It's a shame that in Corey Seager's best year, he didn't get a single first place vote, but there's no way I'm putting him in that bottom tier because this is a crazy season. There's just no way he would have beat Shohei Ohtani, and it's a shame. Up next, we have maybe the MVP snub of all MVP snubs, and that's Bobby Witt Jr. last year for the Kansas City Royals. This is another easy top tier. As much as I'd like to put him with his other shortstop brethren, Bobby Witt Jr. was a step above everybody else last year, except Aaron Judge. He joined the exclusive 9 WAR club, one of just 36 players to do so in the expansion era. Him and Alex Rodriguez are the only 2 shortstops in the expansion era to hit 330 or better with 30 home runs or more. He played more games than any other AL player, won the American League batting title, but unfortunately, you look at the name above him, it's Aaron Judge, and those numbers are just out of this world. But it gets even more impressive when you factor in his position and his age. He was one of just 9 players in the 9 WAR club to do so while being age 24 or younger, and he's one of just 6 shortstops overall on that list. You remember how I said it was a shame that Corey Seager didn't get a first place vote? Well, this is a bigger shame. I would even call this a travesty. Bobby Witt Jr., you deserve better. And the last name to put on this list is Francisco Lindor of the 2024 2024 New York Mets, and he's gonna go in my shortstop tier. Lindor set a career best with a 138 OPS plus. Unfortunately, a back injury took away from him playing potentially all 162 games. It's one of the better seasons of his career, and it's also one of the better shortstop seasons ever. He's one of just 8 shortstops in the expansion era to hit over 30 home runs, steal over 25 bases, and rack up 6 WAR. A truly well-rounded player, the future captain of the New York Mets, but unfortunately, he got Shohei Ohtani'd. Also, I know I said before that I don't think a designated hitter should ever win MVP. I stand by that, but it's pretty clear that Ohtani was going to get this one over Lindor. And that's my list for today. I don't think I'm going to make any revisions here. I think this is final. Let me know in the comments down below what you agree with, what you disagree with, and why you hate me for this list. It's always fun to change up the rhythm of my content with a tier list video like this, so if you enjoyed it, leave a like on the video and subscribe to the channel. Let me know in the comments down below if you'd like to see another one like this, and maybe next week we'll do Cy Young runner-ups. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.